Hello, everyone, welcome back to my channel. Let me ask you something that may make you feel a little uncomfortable. Have you ever wondered why some older men who don't even fit the conventional perfect image, still have younger women completely drawn to them? Why, in a world obsessed with youth and surface-level beauty, does age suddenly become a hidden advantage in the game of attraction? I want you to sit with that thought for a moment, because the answer is not what most men think. It's not about money or status or looks. It's something deeper, something rooted in psychology, something younger men don't even know they're missing. And if you keep listening, I promise you'll start to see patterns that were invisible before. Patterns that explain why women lean in when an older man speaks, why their eyes soften when he holds a gaze just a little longer, and why his silence can feel louder than another man's desperate words. You see, attraction is never just about the surface. Women are wired to notice what most men overlook: the energy behind the words, the calm behind the silence, the quiet power that comes from a man who has lived, who has failed, who has risen, and who carries scars without apology. Age brings that, experience brings that, and whether you realize it or not, women feel it. A younger man might rush to impress with jokes, flashy moves, or exaggerated confidence. But an older man, one who understands the subtleties, doesn't need to compete. His calm presence creates safety. His eyes tell a story. His pauses force her to lean closer. But here's the part no one tells you. This advantage only activates when you stop seeing your age as a weakness. Too many men sabotage themselves by clinging to regret, by comparing themselves to 20-year-olds, by believing the world has already passed them by. Women sense that insecurity instantly. It leaks into your tone, your body language, even the way you breathe around her. But the man who embraces his age, who knows that every line on his face is proof of battles survived, suddenly shifts. He's no longer chasing validation. He becomes the validation. And that shift, that's when women can't help but notice. So let me ask you, what's stronger, a man trying to prove he's valuable, or a man who already knows he is? The answer may just explain why age, instead of being a limitation, is the most magnetic secret you've been overlooking. Think about this carefully. Women are not attracted to the boy who knows how to impress. They are drawn to the man who knows how to lead. And leadership doesn't always mean barking orders or showing dominance in a loud way. True leadership is quiet. It's the way you hold your ground when life tests you. It's how you speak slowly when others rush. It's how you can sit in silence without the desperate need to fill it. That kind of energy is magnetic, and age gives it to you if you learn how to wear it with pride instead of shame. Younger men often mistake excitement for attraction. They'll text non-stop. They'll flood a woman with compliments. They'll try to prove how much they want her. But what they don't realize is that women are not chasing chaos. They're craving security. They're craving the feeling of being anchored to someone who doesn't waver when the storm hits. And who embodies that better than a man who has lived long enough to know storms always pass? That's why an older man can say fewer words but carry more weight. Every sentence feels intentional. Every action feels deliberate. That calm control makes her heartbeat quicken without her even knowing why. But here's the paradox. Too many older men throw away this natural gift because they've convinced themselves they're too old to matter. They cover up their wisdom with self-doubt. They shrink around younger competition. They buy into society's lie that a man loses value with time. The truth is, it's the opposite. Time makes you more valuable. Experience makes you richer. And every scar you carry, every failure you've turned into strength, adds layers to your presence that no 20-year-old can fake. Women feel this difference deeply. It's the reason a younger man's energy can feel fun but fleeting, while an older man's energy feels grounding, unforgettable, almost addictive. When you enter a room and you don't need attention, you instantly become the one she notices. When you don't chase, she feels compelled to come closer. When you don't rush to prove yourself, she can't stop wondering what makes you so sure of your worth. Understand this. Women aren't just attracted to who you are now. They are attracted to the journey you've survived, the storms you've weathered, and the way you carry all of that in your presence. That is what separates a man who ages into irrelevance from a man who ages into irresistible. Let me tell you a secret most men never hear out loud. Women are not looking for perfect. They are looking for real. A wrinkle on your face, the silver in your hair, even the lines around your eyes. Those are not weaknesses. They are silent signals that you've lived, you've endured, and you've learned. To a woman who craves depth, those are marks of trustworthiness. She sees in you what she cannot find in a younger man: steadiness, patience, and the quiet certainty that comes from surviving what life throws at you. You see, youth is often about proving something. Young men try to show off strength they haven't earned yet, confidence they haven't fully built, and wisdom they haven't lived long enough to hold. But a man who has walked through fire doesn't need to prove. His presence alone reveals it. That's why women lean in when an older man speaks, because his words come with a weight of experience, not the echo of theory. That's why his silence can be louder than another man's endless talking. But here's where the shift happens. If you carry your age like a burden, it becomes one. If you see every grey hair as a sign of fading value, women will feel that insecurity immediately. But if you carry your age like a crown, it transforms everything. You don't apologize for being seasoned. You embrace it. You don't try to act younger. You let the younger try to catch up to you. That's where power begins, because confidence rooted in truth can never be faked. Think about the times you've seen a younger man stumble through a conversation, rushing, over-explaining, desperate for approval. Now imagine yourself leaning back, calm, relaxed, steady in your tone, unbothered if she likes you or not. Do you see how that contrast flips the entire dynamic? Attraction is not about effort, it's about gravity. And when you embrace the gravity of your age, women feel pulled toward you, sometimes against their own logic. So stop fighting the years. Stop comparing yourself to younger competition. They may have speed, but you have direction. They may have energy, but you have grounding. They may have charm, but you have presence. And in the psychology of attraction, presence always wins. That's why, for the man who knows how to wear his age with pride, time doesn't make him weaker. It makes him unstoppable. There's a reason women feel more at ease around an older man, and it's not just about confidence. It's about emotional control. Younger men often live in extremes. They get overly excited when things go well, and crushed when they don't. Their emotions swing like a pendulum, and women pick up on that instability. But an older man has seen enough of life to know that emotions are temporary, that storms come and go, and that no single moment defines his worth. That calm emotional balance is like oxygen for a woman. It makes her feel safe in your presence, even if she doesn't consciously understand why. This is the secret women rarely admit out loud. Attraction isn't only about how you look, it's about how you make her feel. When you radiate steadiness, when you don't get rattled by every little thing, when your mood isn't dependent on her reactions, she feels something she can't easily explain. She feels secure, and security is one of the most powerful forms of attraction that exists. But here's the challenge. Many men sabotage this natural gift by clinging to bitterness. They let the weight of past relationships, failed chances, or broken trust turn them into cynics. And women can sense that bitterness like smoke in the air. It poisons your presence. The key is to reframe your past not as baggage, but as proof of growth. When you carry yourself like a man who has learned instead of a man who has lost, women see you differently. They don't see damage, they see depth. They don't see pain, they see power. Think of it this way. Every time you survived a heartbreak, every time you got back up after life knocked you down, every time you kept going when you wanted to quit, that built resilience. And resilience is one of the most magnetic qualities a man can have. A woman will always be more drawn to the man who has weathered storms and stayed grounded than the man who has never been tested at all. So the question is not whether your age is an obstacle, it's whether you're willing to wear it with pride. Because when you do, your presence shifts from ordinary to unforgettable. Women stop seeing the years on your face and start feeling the strength in your spirit. And that shift is what turns simple attraction into lasting connection. Now let's pull back the curtain on something even more powerful: the way women respond to certainty. A man who is certain about himself, about what he wants, and about what he will not tolerate, creates an atmosphere that younger men rarely achieve. That certainty is intoxicating. It's not arrogance, it's not dominance, it's clarity. And clarity, when it comes from an older man who has seen enough to know what truly matters, feels like a rare treasure to a woman who is used to dealing with indecision and insecurity. Younger men often confuse women with their mixed signals. They say one thing, then do another. They commit too fast, then pull away. They flood her with attention, then disappear when they feel overwhelmed. This instability keeps women on edge, and over time, it drains them. But when a man of experience shows up, steady and unshaken, his certainty is like a deep breath she didn't know she needed. He doesn't say maybe when he means no. He doesn't hesitate to walk away when something doesn't align with his values. And that quiet strength speaks louder than any flashy move or clever line. But here's where many older men miss their advantage. They've lived enough years to have certainty, but they hide it behind self-doubt. Or worse, they give it away to please others. You must understand, certainty is not about controlling her. It's about controlling yourself. When you know who you are, when you no longer bend just to be accepted, you shift the entire dynamic. Suddenly, she is the one leaning in, testing to see if she can rise to your standard. And this is where flirting takes on a whole new dimension. For you, it's not about playful tricks or cheesy lines. It's about the unspoken challenge in your eyes, the steady patience in your voice, the ease in your body language that says, "I've seen too much of life to be shaken by a single moment." That energy is what makes her laugh harder, touch you longer, and linger in your presence when she should be walking away. So remember this: attraction doesn't come from chasing approval, it comes from radiating certainty. And certainty is the gift that age, experience, and resilience give you, if you dare to embrace it. A younger man can only pretend to have it, but you've earned it. And when you wear it without apology, women don't just notice, they can't forget. There's another truth that no one tells you, and it's one of the biggest reasons why age becomes an advantage in attraction. Older men understand pace. Younger men rush to impress, rush to win, rush to claim. They treat attraction like a race, and in that race they trip over themselves, revealing nerves, desperation, and uncertainty. But an older man, he knows the value of slowing things down. He knows that silence can be louder than words, that a pause can make her heart race, and that restraint is far more powerful than overexposure. This slower pace isn't weakness, it's control. Think of it like music. When every note is loud and fast, there's no tension, no depth, no rhythm. But when a man introduces space, contrast, and timing, suddenly every word, every glance, every touch carries weight. That's what women feel around an older man. He's not rushing because he has nothing to prove. He's not afraid of losing her because he understands something younger men don't. That attraction grows stronger when it's allowed to breathe. But here's the deeper psychology. When you slow down, you force her to feel. You force her to sit in the moment. You force her to notice the way your presence affects her. Instead of drowning her in attention, you create curiosity. Instead of chasing her approval, you allow her to lean into the mystery. And that, right there, is why age turns into an advantage. Because you've lived long enough to know that control isn't about saying more, it's about saying less. Control isn't about showing everything, it's about showing just enough. Of course, some men misuse this. They confuse restraint with fear. They hold back because they're scared of rejection, not because they're choosing to move with patience. And women can feel the difference instantly. True restraint is a choice, and that choice carries power. When she sees that you could move faster but you don't, she respects it. She feels it, and she responds to it without even realizing why. So ask yourself, are you pacing your interactions from a place of fear or from a place of control? Because when you own the pace, you own the frame. And the man who owns the frame is always the man who leaves the deepest mark. That's not just flirting, it's mastery. Now let's bring it all together, because this is the part that most men miss. The ultimate reason age becomes your advantage is not just experience, not just confidence, not just presence. It's the fact that you finally stop living for approval. Younger men crave it, they chase it, they build their identity around it. But an older man who embraces himself has moved past that need. And that freedom, that independence, that quiet sense of "I don't need you to complete me," that is the most magnetic energy a woman can ever feel. Think about it. When you stop chasing approval, you become dangerous in the best way possible. You're no longer trying to say the right thing just to keep her interested. You're no longer molding yourself into what you think she wants. Instead, you're living as the man you truly are and inviting her to either rise to your standard or walk away. That's power. That's presence. That's why women look at an older man differently. He isn't begging for attention. He is the attention. But here's where it gets even deeper. When you own this kind of self-assurance, your flirting shifts. It's not about witty lines or constant validation. It's about subtle gestures, the way your eyes linger just long enough, the calm patience in your smile, the unshaken energy in your silence. These are the things that pull her in without her even realizing it. She doesn't just see you, she feels you. And that's the difference between surface-level attraction and something unforgettable. So if you've been seeing your age as a weakness, it's time to rewrite that story. Every scar, every lesson, every gray hair is not a disadvantage. It's the proof that you've lived. And when you wear it with pride, women sense it instantly. Because in a world full of men trying to be boys, a man who embraces his maturity is rare. And rare is irresistible. Now I'll leave you with a question. Are you still chasing validation? Or are you ready to become the kind of man who is the validation? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this message spoke to you, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with a friend who needs to hear these words today.